All right, so we have another thrilling episode of Microsoft Paint Economics with Levi today. We're going to be talking about complements and substitutes and how those prices can affect things. You guys are probably going to hate it, but it is what it is. So it doesn't really matter which one we start with. We're going to start with complements. That's not right at all. Complements in consumption. Okay, I don't really like writing with the mouse whenever I don't need to. So what I'm going to say is uh, these are things that you eat together. Why is the eat in quotes? You may or may not know this yet. Whenever an economist says that somebody eats something, it doesn't necessarily mean with their mouth. Yeah, you can, so compliments, hot dogs and hot dog buns, hamburgers and hamburger buns, right? Like easy compliments that you actually eat. But what are some things that you quote eat together? Papers and pencils. I don't eat paper or pencils. I mean, like I ate paper when I was like 4, like everyone else, but I don't do that anymore. And so eat just means consume, use, that kind of thing. Well, how do these things affect each other? This is what you guys aren't going to like. Is let's say that I have what what happens when the price, well, let me be even more specific. What happens to the demand for hot dogs when the price of hot dog buns goes up? All right, let's draw our standard graph. This is a Levi standard, a Levi normal graph. You're never going to find in a textbook like, oh, this is the normal graph of econ. It doesn't happen, okay? I'm going to do my best to keep color coding. No promises that I really think I'll keep the same colors video to video just because I'm a creature of habit and I, assume I do it, but no promises. I might mix up the red and the blue every now and then. But we've got this. And what market is this? I want to do hot dogs. Hot dogs. The price of hot dogs bun goes up. If you remember in that shifter video, I told you that if the price of something changes, the demand doesn't change. I specifically said, like, if the price of hot dogs changes, then the demand for hot dogs won't change. This is not the price of hot dogs. This is the price of hot dog buns, right? It's a different good. So that was why I put that caveat if you're literally guessing. 9 out of 10 times the price isn't going to do anything. But complements and substitutes, definitely going to do something. Okay, so let's just think about it. If the price of hot dog buns goes up, are you going to buy more or less hot dogs? You're going to buy less hot dogs. And that's really all it is. Again, you can get lost in the sauce of, what's the math? Give me the econ. I need the third order derivative and all this stuff. It doesn't matter. Okay, this is Econ 101. Again, if you need Econ 401 stuff, I can do that. That'll be its own whole other beast we conquer. But like Econ 101, it's just intuition. You're guessing on multiple choice tests. You're writing out a paragraph for your answer on a test. Like, it's just, as long as you write that, 4.5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, right? Like that's a great answer, if not completely correct. I would give you a 5, but I was kind of an easy grader. So the demand for hot dogs, when the price of hot dogs bun goes up, the demand falls. Okay, and you're going to see in a separate video what are the effects of shifting. Okay, so don't worry so much about what does it mean that demand falls. I care for right now that all you remember is that a decrease in demand means that demand goes left. That's 100% the number one thing I want you to take away from this. Next is substitutes. I don't know why I went back to handwriting. I hate writing with a mouse. In consumption. That's a W. Consumption. Okay. Start with your standard graph. Oh, actually, I need to give you the setup here. So let's get rid of hot dogs and hot dog buns, because if you use the same thing over and over, people will get confused, and they'll be like, oh, I remember the hot dog example. It was left. It was right. There were 2 hot dog examples. Which was which? So first, the definition is substitutes, whatever, close enough, are things you, I'm going to put in quotes, never eat, together because it's things that you would do one instead of the other. It's like, oh, I'll eat an apple instead of an orange. Yes, I am very, very aware after my years of writing and grading tests that some things are substitutes to others, some things are complements to others, some things are a mix. I get it. The idea is if you can only do one thing, okay, you can only do one, what's your substitute? What I've found the best version of substitutes is candy bars. You never see people double fisting their candy bars. They're like, I got a Milky Way and a Kit Kat, bro. Like, no, okay? You'll see people making fruit salads. It's like, oh, okay, they're compliments now. But candy bars, you never see double fisters. If you are a double fister, you're living your best life, and I want to be like you. But things that you, quote, never eat together, right? Basically something you can use instead of the other. So what happens to demand when demand of Kit Kats when the price of, what did I say, Milky Ways falls? I want to point out real fast before we finish this, because I know I could be all over the place. It's like, oh, hard to follow, whatever. I don't care. So I only did one version up here, right? I only did demand for hot dogs when the price of hot dog bun goes up. Well, what happens when it goes down? You can figure that out. It's the opposite, right? It's like, oh, well, this way it went to the left, the other way it's going to go to the right. Now we're doing the same thing for substitutes. I'm only going to do one version, but the other version is just the opposite. So Kit Kats. And a reminder for all our, I don't know, I need to come up with some sort of nice, so people who do econ all the time are called econobots. Feel free to use that. Like if you have a graduate student teaching your class, or if you have an instructor, or you have discussion sections or whatever, just like ask them if they're an econobot. And if they say no, that means they're really bad at econ. But there needs to be some term for like econ newbies. I'll think about it. So I'll figure out what to call econ newbies. But for people that are new to econ, the star just means your equilibrium. It's like, oh, this is my price and quantity. What that means is like a whole nother story. We're going to do at some point videos on that. The next set of videos I plan on doing is one on shifting, one on multiple shifts, and that'll be after this video. Maybe tonight. I'm actually not 100% certain. We'll see what time it is. But so what happens here? Well, let's say that you can buy a Kit Kat or you can buy a Milky Way. If the price of Milky Way goes down, well, are you going to buy more or less Kit Kats? Another way to ask this is if the price of Milky Ways goes down, do you buy more or less Milky Ways? You're going to buy more Milky Ways. Well, if you only have a $10 allowance, are you going to have more or less money spent on Kit Kats? You're going to have less spent on Kit Kats. There are some holes to what I'm saying, but I'm trying to get you some intuition, right? And so in this one, it's like, oh, well, Milky Ways are cheaper, so I'm going to get less Kit Kats. That should make sense. Like, I can choose between two things. One of them is cheaper. I'll choose the cheaper. So that means I get less of the other one. Let's look at this. Up here, I said that if the price goes up, we have a demand decrease then, right? Down here, I said if the price falls, we have a demand decrease. Complements and substitutes are the opposites of each other. Okay? Opposites. Next, these two that I just did in this section here, these are the most important ones. Every single Econ 101 is going to have this. Guaranteed. 100%. 60% of Econ 101s are going to cover this next topic, and I'll try and do it kind of briefly because it's the same as the consumption. It's just you need to change your frame of mind. So, what do I do? Complements. I don't know why I'm back. I keep getting back to handwriting, and I apologize. Like, neither of us enjoy this. Complements in production. Okay. I'll just write off to the side. I'm not erasing this. So over here, things you can produce together, right? Think of an example like leather and beef. How do you get leather? You kill a cow. How do you get beef? you kill a cow. Okay? And so these are things that you can produce together. Let me draw my starting graph. I'll be back in just one second. Well, I had to step away for a second, and I thought I hit pause recording. I accidentally hit stop recording, so hopefully when I splice these two things together, it's not wildly jarring. I'm kind of a YouTube pro now, you know, so yeah, I don't know shit about video stuff. Okay, so this one is going to be like, if the price... I'm doing econ in Microsoft Paint, so like that should set the expectations low. If the price of leather increases, what happens to the supply of beef? Let's think about it. You have a slaughterhouse that can make leather and can make beef. All right, if the price of leather goes up, do they want to make more? I don't think I labeled this other graph, did I? No, I definitely did. Genius. So, if the price of leather goes up, do they want to make more or less leather? They want to make more leather. How do you get more leather? You kill more cows. So when you kill more cows, do you also get more beef? Yeah. So that means supply increases. And again, you can do the other way. It's like, oh, if the price of leather decreases, then they want to make less leather, so they make less beef, right? Like it's all of these can just be flipped by replacing the increases and decreases. If you have specific questions, let me know. The next one, and I'm not gonna handwrite this one because I'm over that, is this is going to be substitutes in production. This is going to be things you have to make separately. I promise I'm smart. There we go. Things you have to make separately. Start with our graph. We got Q, P, D, S. All right. Well, things that you have to make separately. You know, it's like, oh, well, beef and leather you make together. But can you grow orange trees and peanuts on the same farm? No, doesn't work, right? Like the orange trees need the ground or the peanuts need the ground. They can't both have the ground. So, I wish I could just have text always be black. The price of oranges goes up. What happens to the supply of peanuts? And then this is like the thing I'm assuming, and I'll just write it out for you guys. If a farmer has to choose between the two. Okay? All right. So we're looking at peanuts over here. So a farmer can choose between oranges or peanuts. Would you rather sell more expensive oranges or the same price peanuts? You'd rather sell more expensive oranges. So that means that the supply of peanuts falls. It's decrease. Okay? And that's basically it for complements and substitutes. I'm going to have other videos on what actual like shifters are. Not what they are, but like what are the effects. I'll also do a video on perfect complements and perfect substitutes. I don't know when I'll get to that one because for me personally, it's like pretty straightforward, and it hopefully will be for you once I actually show you, and it should be a very fast video, but I'll get to that likely after the shifters videos because I think the shifters videos are more important. But I'll try and splice the two parts I made together and hope it doesn't suck.